This is the Hollywood Outsider, weekly movie and TV podcast with a new episode every Thursday, and this week we're going to discuss upcoming releases including The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, American Hustle, and A Madea Christmas, Brian's favorite. Spoiler-free reviews of Frozen and Homefront, the From the Outside In topic this week. Have animated movies gotten better or worse in the last couple decades, and what our favorites are. Latest in movie and TV news, including our own trivia segments. My name is Aaron Peterson. With me today are my fellow hosts, Scotty Clark.
Hey, Aaron. How you doing?
What an exciting opening.
Couldn't think of anything witty to say, could you, Scott?
Nope. That's
mine frantically working for that 2 seconds it took to say, like, hey.
Hey,
it was
like the Fonz.
The Fonz.
If you had a leather jacket, that'd be great.
Have a jukebox to like smack the side of.
Jump a shark. Brian Williams.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Well, you didn't come up with much else. And Justin McCumber.
Sure, there's some people who actually have never seen the episode where he actually jumps a shark. They just think that's a phrase.
Oh, that is so sad because it is one of the worst moments in television ever.
He wears black socks while he is skiing.
He's Fonzie, man.
In his leather jacket.
He's Fonzie. He surfs. He does everything.
Who the fuck ever thought that was a good idea?
I think they were pretty much in the thought process that nothing could go wrong at that point, and they were wrong.
Yeah, they were mistaken. The best thing about that entire show is Henry Winkler is the least cool guy on the planet, and he pulled that off. That is an actor. Ever.
Oh, in general, like as a person,
he's a very nice guy, very cool guy, and not a cool, but just he's a nice guy. But
everything I've seen him like outside of a movie or TV show, he's been really personable and just real open to the public and everything.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how we got on Fonzie, but
it was Scotty's. Hey.
So really, everything comes back.
We don't need to recap the whole, evolution.
Yeah, let's all recap the opening of this episode.
Hey, how you doing, Aaron?
Hey.
All right. Well, before we get
you realize that most people have never seen the episode of where Fonzie actually jumps the shark.
Who wears a leather jacket and skis at the same time?
He actually wore black socks while skiing.
Black socks.
Oh, this is like Memento.
It's crazy. Why do I feel like I'm in Groundhog Day? It's cold outside.
Ned?
Wow.
High five, Scott.
In sequence.
And scene.
All right, the biggest news of the week, which just came out today, Wonder Woman is going to be in Batman vs. Superman. They actually cast her. It's Gal Gadot, who you guys will know from Fast 5 and Fast 6 as the... What was her character's name? I don't even remember.
She was the one who hooked up with the Asian guy.
There you Yeah, but she's been named as Wonder Woman in the new Batman vs. Superman or Superman vs. Batman, whichever way you want to read it, flick. Who is excited and who is concerned?
Please tell me that the internet didn't do the same thing they did with Ben Affleck and instead this time welcomed this news with open arms and had nary a harsh word to say.
So I run to you.
I didn't hear anybody really going crazy. It's mostly about her body shape. Almost everything I've read is about her body shape.
Well, and I do admit, I mentioned that too. Wonder Woman is Wonder Woman. She is an Amazon. She is a big chick. This girl, you could break like a bag of twigs. She has got to hit the gym, maybe hire the people who work on Hugh Jackman or who got Henry Cavill all jacked up for Superman and start feeding her some fish and oatmeal because she's got to put on some muscle mass.
I think it's not even so much about how she's built physique-wise as far as muscle, but wasn't Wonder Woman like tall? Like I always picture Amazon woman.
Yeah, she's an Amazonian. But I mean, Gadot is like 5'9", and she played Giselle.
Oh, 5'9", watch out.
Hey, 5'9".
But put her up against Henry Cavill, and she's going to look like a munchkin.
That's what I'm saying.
How tall is Henry Cavill? I don't know.
At least 6.
He's 6'2".
We really should
have to have some high, like pimp style.
They got tricks with the cameras, camera angles, all that stuff.
It's going to be like the Hobbit.
I was going to say.
They're just
Tom
shooting
Cruise
up.
looks like he's 6 feet tall, and everybody knows he's like 5'3".
That's true.
It's like if him and Danny DeVito stood next together, Danny DeVito would tower over.
Very true.
So does anybody concerned with her acting? Because I liked her in the Fast movies. I think she spent 2 years in the Israeli army. I don't know if anybody knew that, but 2 years. She was an army brat.
Makes her even hotter.
So Brian, you're sold?
I'm sold. She's a very physical actress and not over the top And she can actually act as opposed to Gina Carano.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a
yeah.
good point.
Yeah,
So-
some people were pushing for her, and I'm like, don't put Gina Carano in Wonder Woman.
No.
If Wonder Woman's a mute, that's the only way I would go with Gina Carano.
Put Ben Affleck in there. I'd rather take that than Gina Carano.
As Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
I'd rather take Kevin Smith as Wonder Woman.
Ooh.
Put those B cups in an outfit? I don't think so.
Well, the boobs would be closer. Just saying.
Fat
Zing.
joke. Zing.
Fat guy in a
Little
little spandex.
All right. Well, that's going to be coming out soon. We don't know if it's going to be a cameo or a role. They're just saying she's going to be in the movie. Some people are speculating cameo. I don't know where that came from. I think this kind of announcement, they're going to give her a substantial part, I think.
I think it's going to be a much smaller than you're thinking. I think the only reason you're seeing it as a big announcement, and it is a big announcement, but I think it's Warner Brothers and DC maybe wanting to get out in front of the casting news. I can't imagine that in this film she's going to be a huge presence because it's about Batman and Superman. I think she's going to come in near the end. I think it's going to be a glorified cameo. That's my personal prediction.
It does, yeah. It does worry me a little bit that now we've got Superman, Batman, and now Wonder Woman. These are three huge characters, and I don't want to lose the feeling of being a Superman movie, and all of a sudden it's a Justice League movie with Superman kind of being masked as a Superman title.
That's my biggest concern, and I'm glad you said it because I'm not hearing anybody say that. Everybody seems to be okay with this because they really want their Justice League movie, which I get. But this is supposed to be a Superman sequel, and as of right now, it doesn't look anything like what I would expect from a Superman sequel. It does seem more like Justice League.
Well, but unfortunately, Warner Brothers and DC is having to come after what Marvel and Disney have already done so well. If they try and replicate that, then I think a lot of people are going to cry, copier, you can't do your own thing. You're just doing what this other company already did. So I think they're in a difficult position regarding establishing a Justice League film universe. And so they're trying to do the best they can, get this ball rolling and do it quickly without having to do, copy every move that Marvel has already made.
That's pretty fair. There is probably a huge margin for them to seem like they're just mimicking everything.
Hey, and for the record, Linda Carter, the quintessential Wonder Woman, has offered her congratulations to Miss Godot. So,
Well, she just wants to be in the news, man. What's she doing now? She's like running a Taco
she's
Bell.
still, I don't care.
She's still beautiful.
She's still hot.
She's hot at the Taco Bell. That's where she's hot at because she's unemployed. Or she's working at a fan convention right now. Just
Ain't nothing wrong with
there are
that.
geeks staking out my house right
Sorry,
now.
how many fan conventions are you working at other than security?
Touche, Brian. Touche. All right. Well, speaking of nerd hate, J.J. Abrams has gone on the record. And I think it's okay to bring this up because he's talking about it publicly now. But he might have been wrong trying to hide the Star Trek Into Darkness twist about who Benedict Cumberbatch being Khan. Now, if you didn't know that, then you don't watch the news or the net or the internet or anything else because it's been everywhere. So it's not really a spoiler anymore. When the director himself makes it public, I don't think it counts as a spoiler. So what say you guys? Do you think it was a mistake marketing it that way or not?
I definitely think it was a mistake.
How so?
Because everybody, half the audience, or at least the people who are fans, already knew who it was most likely going to be. And by doing this song and dance, little shuck and jive, oh, we're not going to tell you who it is, just created this, I think this kind of an anger amongst a lot of their audience, hence a lot of the bad feelings now after the film has been out. I think if they just come out and gotten out in front of it and said, hey, this is, we've hired him to play Khan, that's who it's going to be, then a lot of the negative press, I think, would have disappeared pretty quickly.
What more positively could have happened if they would have done it that way? The movie did fantastic, right? I mean,
no, it didn't do nearly as well.
Money-wise, but they did that whole survey where God knows how many people said that this was the worst Star Trek ever. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of geeks who have done nothing but rail on Facebook about how badly they have managed the Star Trek universe, that by putting Khan in it, they're showing that they have no original ideas, blah, 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 blah. I think some of that comes from everybody being told for the longest time, no, it's not Khan, no, it's not Khan, we're not going to tell you who it is, and that, yep, it sure is.
Yeah, and he flat out lied. I mean, he had the actors lie, he lied, and it's one thing to misguide people and say, I'm not going to say who it is, but he flat out said, no, it's not Khan. And he even admitted that in this interview, if you can watch it. So to me, that's taking a big chance as a filmmaker, because I think Spielberg said, and I can't really exact quote, but something to the effect that if you have a plot point or MacGuffin that you keep from the audience and it affects their enjoyment of the film, once they realize what that is, then you're not doing it right. Something along those lines. And I think that what happened was because he kept telling people it wasn't going to be there, wasn't going to be there, wasn't going to be there, and then when it turns out it was what fanboys have been speculating for months, I think they turned on him like that. Do you agree with that, Justin? I mean, is that kind of what happened? Because that's kind of what I felt. I felt like the fans were behind it until they realized they were being duped.
I think that's part of it. I think there are a lot of people who did feel like they were lied to and duped. I think that, the whole cry of you guys don't have enough original ideas, it has a little bit of merit, but I felt like what they did with the film and the character was perfectly fine. So I don't have any lasting negative emotions towards it. But what is the internet for if not building this kind of bullshit anger and frustration amongst the common geekery?
Brian, you wanted to add something. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
I'm a little bit more concerned about a little bit of a different trend here. This is now the third thing that J.J. Abrams is having to, or at least he feels compelled to apologize for. And they just happen to be all Star Trek issues.
What do you mean?
Lens flares, this Khan issue, and he wasn't the one that actually apologized, but he kind of backdoored an apology about Alice Eve and the issue with her being in her underwear. And that was about the only memorable part she had in the whole movie. I mean, the dude's, I don't know, stand by something.
Well, as someone who is a bigger...
He's doing nothing but apologize. I mean, it just seems like, he's just doing nothing but apologizing for, I'm sorry I even made this fucking movie.
And you're right, he shouldn't. Scott?
As someone who's a bigger Star Wars fan than a Star Trek fan, I'm glad he's getting his apologies out of the way now with the series that I'm less interested in. Don't get me wrong, I love the new Star Trek movies, but I don't want him to be apologizing for anything with the Star Wars movies.
Hopefully he's learned some lessons.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I don't know what he needs to. The Khan thing, yes, I agree with that. The Alice Eve thing, bad judgment maybe, whatever, but I liked it. I'm sure some people had a problem with it.
Why is that a problem? Why was that a problem?
We're men. Seriously.
There was green bitches in bikinis all over that original series that was on television.
There were green ladies.
Yeah, but it's a character. She's a character that had a decent. But she had a decent story arc in the first one, right?
She was a fully fleshed out character until that.
Right,
moment.
and in the second one, basically, she's hardly in it, and the main scene that anybody remembers her in is her in her underwear.
Right. I meant that Alice Eve was a fully fleshed out character in this movie, and then that moment kind of took away from
So it's okay to objectify the ones that don't have more character points to
them?
them?
No, I think people just had a problem with, it wasn't necessary. It wasn't necessary. And it wasn't.
It wasn't necessary in the TV series either.
Nothing much was necessary in that TV series.
Well, then quit your bitching. If you're going to compare it to the originals and that kind of thing, then...
Oof. We're going to get so much email this week. The Spider-Man trailer should be...
nobody listening to this shit.
We know you're not. Spider-Man trailer is going to be out. And unfortunately, it came out after we recorded, so we couldn't talk about it, which is I was excited for. But apparently they decided to put it out on Thursday because they hate me. So check out the website.
It's all about you.
I know. It's not. It's you and I. We're just duking it out. It's about one of us. And it will be on the website, so go to thehollywoodoutsider.com. It should be up when you listen to this. Scott, you had some breaking news about Warcraft, the Warcraft movie.
Yeah, Warcraft has actually an official cast, which includes Ben Foster, which I was surprised about by that.
Oh, yeah.
Ben Foster, he's one of those underappreciated actors that
Great character actor.
Yeah, every time I see him in something, he is he's really amping it up a little bit, and I was really looking forward to seeing that. Not only him, but Paula Patton, who was in Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol. That's a pretty big actor for a video game movie, as far as I'm concerned.
It is. And from a stereotypical man's point of view, watch Two Guns. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
Oh, I can't call... Okay, never mind.
Nope. Continue.
Dominic Cooper, who was in Captain America, the upcoming Winter Soldier. These are some bigger names that I was not expecting. There's some that I didn't recognize. Toby Kebbell from The Counselor. I'm not familiar with The Counselor.
I don't remember who he was, but I'm still trying to forget that movie.
Rob Kaczynski from Pacific Rim. I mean, these are more high profile actors for a video game movie than I was expecting. Usually, in video game movies, you get one actor that everybody knows, maybe two.
I would say, man, this is the video game movie. I mean, this is one of the biggest properties in the video game world, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, still is, right?
Well, it's in the decline a little bit because it's one of the few pay only MMOs that's left. But to me, that's not about the story though. Again, I'm saying that from a person who hasn't played it, but that's more about the grind.
It was more about the grind.
Yeah, it's more about how many hours you can put. I mean, I have friends that have literally put months, sometimes years of gameplay into those games. I mean, you're not having a story that lasts that long. I'm sorry. It's about the grind. So I think it's more about the world, the atmosphere, and the name recognition than it is the actual legitimate story that's going on in that. But again, that's coming from someone that has never touched World of Warcraft. So
most people that touch that never leave their house.
That's kind of why I've stayed away from it.
Because you would be there.
I probably would.
He already has video game issues. He doesn't need WoW on top of it.
That's like, hey, I'm addicted to crack. Why don't you give me some heroin?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's try some.
That's an online subscription to divorce.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just glad you're finally admitting you have a problem. All right.
Hey, it's a first step.
Thanks to the success of Les Mis, Scott's favorite musical play, whatever that thing is, ever, Cats is back on board to be a possible film adaptation. I want to know, can this even be translated? I mean, I don't assume the actors are going to be walking around with furry face masks. And should it be? Is this something they should even try to adapt?
You might be surprised by this, but I have stayed far away from cats as possible.
You have like 5 of them in your house.
No, not literal cats there, Elmer Fudd, but the musical Cats. I love musicals, you guys all know that, but this one has never interested me whatsoever. When it comes to musicals, I prefer stories about people. I don't know. I understand that these are...
People who need...
People.
Is that from the musical and I just don't know it?
I don't. From one of them, but I don't know which one.
Yeah, I know the song. I just don't know what it's from.
This one doesn't interest me personally, but that musical is crazy popular. It was on
Broadway for like a decade.
For real. It was messed up.
No, it was like 80 years or something. I don't...
That's like a decade.
Here's where I have a problem seeing this being successful. That is way 80s. Way 80s.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I mean, I'm talking about people dressed up like cats in spandex with fur on their face.
That's like Sonny Crockett time.
I call it Thursday.
This is one... This is one that
Thursday?
Furry Thursday.
Furry Thursday. I think that this is one that the hardcore fans from the 80s and those that grew up with that, or maybe were in their 30s at this time, will go see this one to see what it does. I don't see this one being nearly as successful as Les Mis. Les Mis was able to attract some of the younger audience. Mm-hmm. I think the younger audience will see people in spandex on stage like that and just be completely turned off.
Well, I'm sure they wouldn't do that. Hopefully they would do a real production.
Ooh, maybe they could do like an Avatar version.
There you go.
It's all CGI, but real actors and shit.
That'd be really
First
expensive.
time I see the trailer, I'm going to think it's like Lion King redone.
Simba starts singing Hakuna Matata. Is that your version of African music? What the fuck was that? All right, let's move on. Frank Darabont, who is famous for The Mist, for that fantastic ending, as well as he did a little show called Walking Dead, which now he's had like 8 people that fired him, but now he's back onto another show called Mob City. But he's saying that movies have sucked for years. Basically what he's alluding to is television is where stories are told now because movies have sucked for years. Do you guys think, A, is he right, and B, are we finally at that age where TV is the more exciting place to watch a story unfold?
I think, yeah, pretty much on both accounts. it's not so much that movies suck. It's just their TV has a little bit more actually a lot more flexibility. You can do longer formats than just a 2, or on the 2.5 hour movie, because you don't see any 3-hour movies anymore. A long time
Peter
ago.
Jackson says hello.
Yeah, but his 3-hour movies are whenever the extended versions are released on Blu-ray, not in the
No, that's when it's 4 hours.
Yeah, man, Hobbit was 3 hours. Yeah, in the theater. I know because my ass told me.
Well, it's a big ass, so it says a lot.
Wow. All right. Touche.
So, sorry.
That's all right.
Burn.
Fat jokes.
Oh, you tee it up. I got to hit it. I'm just saying.
Well, you can't miss it, apparently.
No, you can't.
You tee up an ass like that, it's going to get knocked out the park.
Oh, just wear some white pants. We'll just show movies on it. So,
All right, so back to your point.
Double
to my
feature.
point. Oh, back to my point. It's a huge ass. Sorry.
I feel like I should have like a rim shot going.
No, I mean with the TV stuff, you can expand the story. There's you've got 13, 16, 26 episode series. You can delve a whole lot deeper in backstories and character development, all that kind of stuff. You've got even just the mini series and the kind of the one shot series. HBO's got one with Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey coming up. That looks fantastic, starting in January.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
But, something like that would just be an average movie crammed into 2 hours. So the big screen, kind of like I said, is just kind of handcuffed into what they've got to hit so many. They have to do so many things to develop the characters, to give the backstory, to give the perspective, create the drama of whatever strife they're going through, and of course, whatever heroic deeds are done at the end of the movie to tie it all together. So I think, honestly think this is one of the reasons, besides money, but a lot of these franchises are creating, it's all trilogies or maybe even more at this point. But so I don't know. This is, I think Darabont's got a point. He kind of sounds bitchy about it, but I think he's got a valid point.
Well, you say he sounds bitchy, and it's easy to think that from reading this on the surface. It sounds like, oh yeah, movies suck, coming from a guy that's been pretty successful in the TV industry. But if you actually read it, he's saying that that's a bad thing. He's not saying, oh, movies suck, TV is where it's at. That's not at all what he's saying. He's actually hoping that it comes back. And I think that's actually a positive thing that he's saying that. And I think what's interesting more about it is that with TV shows, and he actually said this in the article, is that TV shows can't rely on special effects as much as movies can because they have a bigger budget. And he says the movies have become more about the spectacle and seeing how pretty movies can get.
They've been over-relying on it.
Right, whereas television shows don't have that as much of a budget, so they have to focus more on the story and the writing and that kind of thing, which is why it's leaned more towards the better writing and that kind of thing. So I do agree with him on that. I'm not saying that I don't think movies have sucked. I've enjoyed quite a few movies over the past couple of years.
I think this past year has been a great year for movies. But
I think that's a pretty strong language to use for a lot of movies that I've had a good time with. But at the same time, I like to sit down and enjoy my experience in one sitting, and it's hard to do that, with a movie or with a TV show that's played once a week. Yeah. Unless I can marathon it through it. So.
To me, it just sounds kind of snooty. Frank Darabont, the film that he did that I think he will always be able to ride on is Shawshank. And that's a film that is not about spectacle. It's not about special effects. It's a story, a film about the acting and the writing. And so I think that, he's the kind of guy who wants movies that are more about that, but that's not what movies really are about these days. Movies are about spectacle, like you've said. And if you're one of those movie fans that wants a return to, what they consider to be good filmmaking, then yeah, you're going to think this current generation of films is, just shiny, glittery crap. But TV's got a lot of advantages that movies don't. You guys have already talked about what those are. Hopefully this will just, this kind of TV's ability to create compelling sorts of storylines is going to hopefully push Hollywood or the movie industry to, maybe not pull back from the spectacle, but add. I mean, I like shiny movies, but if it's a shiny movie with a fantastic, script and great acting, then all to the better.
And I don't think it's a fair statement in this respect. A lot of the spectacle is because, like you said, there's more money on the big screen. And when people go to the big screen, we've talked about that in this show, how many times? When you go and pay for a movie at theater, generally most people want to pay for something that's going to flash excitement, something that they can't get on their TV. Well, those smaller movies, the ones that he's talking about, the ones that are more intimate or more character moments, that you can do on the small screen, and you don't really have to go to the theater anymore for that. So I can see why it's a better venue for that. But to say that movies suck, I don't think is a fair statement, because I think there's a lot of movies, spectacle or not, a lot of movies with spectacle have been great. Some of them are very fun. Some of them are meant just to be entertaining. Some of them are very well done and just very immersive films on their own right. So I do think it's a little snooty, like Justin said. I'm kind of on that bandwagon. I think it's a slight. I didn't like it. And I think there's a happy medium with both worlds right now. I think actually it's perfection right now. I've seen fantastic television shows. I've seen some great movies, and seeing those universes have their own separate areas, I think works great.
We're closer to an equilibrium than we were in the past, where I think movies were getting more of the money, more of the attention, and TV shows were okay, but now they're starting to equal out a little bit.
Yeah, you're getting quality writers, quality actors, quality directors, just quality stories being told on television, so it's becoming a more equal front. Now let's get on to the big news of the week, and the most depressing. Paul Walker, and of course the gentleman that was driving his car, which I don't think many people mention at all, but Roger Rodas, he was also involved. But they both lost their lives in a car accident. So we do want to give our thoughts and prayers to his family. Justin, anything you want to throw in?
Well, I mean, it is sad. And as you mentioned, Roger Rodas, who was his friend and his financial manager, both of them died. They were driving, excuse me, Roger Rodas was driving with Paul Walker in the passenger seat, a Porsche GT Carrera, and apparently they were leaving a charity event for Paul Walker's charity, which for the life of me, I don't see it in front of me, and I wish that I did. But they were leaving that event, and people don't exactly know what happened. Even 4 days later, they're still trying to investigate. Was it a matter of bad driving? Was it a matter of the car malfunctioning? Nobody really knows for sure. And, we may not ever really know for sure what happened. Those Carrera GTs are notorious, though, as being difficult cars to handle because they are so incredibly powerful. I mean, this thing is a V10. 610 horsepower engine, and experienced drivers have difficulty with that car, and both of these guys were.
Yeah, just real quick, even to kind of back up your point there, Jay Leno, who's just a well-noted car enthusiast and collector, even he said trouble with that same car.
I think, if I heard correctly, several other people have died driving those Porsche Carrera GTs. So it's a difficult car. Both of these guys were apparently very experienced drivers. Of course, Paul Walker, sadly known for the Fast and Furious movies, so he knows how to handle a car. But, anybody will tell you that knows anything about cars, that you may know how to drive it, but weird shit can happen.
Absolutely.
We don't know what it was. All we know is that 2 men have died, and it is very sad that they did so, leaving behind family and children that are now going to grow up without their dads. So, my thoughts, and I'm sure the thoughts of all of us, go out to their friends and their family who, have to live in a world that no longer has these people that they loved in it.
And his charity is Reach Out Worldwide.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. But one thing, and it has been enough time that we can bring it up, but Universal's dealing with it right now, but we think it's been a little bit. And what they're doing is Universal is trying to make the decision, what do they do with the film? Do they, with Fast 7, because it was currently being filmed about halfway through. So I guess the question I want to ask you guys is, with so much writing on this franchise, how do you guys think they should handle it? What's your opinion of how this story should play out now that he has passed away?
Well, I tell you what I think they shouldn't do is they shouldn't just mindlessly kill off the character in the film. I think that would be super tacky. Just like write him out, just with going with what they filmed so far, and then write in some weird death, especially if it were involving a vehicle, which more than likely it would.
Yeah, that would be very tacky.
I think that would be completely tacky. In my opinion, I think the whole thing should be scrapped as is, out of respect, and started from scratch without that character. Maybe one line of dialogue at the beginning or something that says, something happened.
They are insured. They are insured, so they would recoup their costs.
Well, then even I didn't know that. Even more so. If there's no loss to start from scratch, I mean, have some tact and just start over.
Well, I'm sure there's quite a bit of the footage that they've shot that can be salvaged.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure not every shot involved Paul Walker's character or even the mentioning of his character. So I wouldn't say scrap all of it, but I definitely think that they should do some starting over. But I don't know, Brian, what do you think?
It's almost like a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of deal.
Yep.
It's really kind of you can't do the next movie without him. And if you have a real, almost a cameo appearance at the beginning of the movie and cut it and edit it to where he, like you say, he kind of dies, he wrecks and he dies or something like that, that's tacky and it's real, it just kind of feels cheap and, it'll kind of ruin the rest of the movie. But obviously you can't do the whole movie with him.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to find a way to edit it, cut it, write it, all that stuff. And I think it should almost be like a tribute.
Absolutely.
A little bit, it should be more than just like a line at the end of the credits, hey, Paul, we'll miss you, love your brother, or whatever. But he should have a kind of a meaty part of that movie. And I honestly, I have no idea. I made the kind of flippant joke about, do like they do with Gollum in The Lord of the Rings and just kind of have somebody in a motion capture suit, and just put his image over that person. But, it's just, they're in a very weird spot that I don't think any movie studio has been in before.
Oh yeah.
This is the first time for, this is historic in a way.
I think it happened to James Dean during a movie, but I can't remember specifically. But
that was during a movie. This is
during a movie.
Yeah, not
while
the
it
sixth,
was filmed?
Yeah, not the sixth or after 6 or 7 movies.
That's true. That's
Well, I mean, let's not forget The Crow suffered a somewhat similar circumstance in that, its star died during the filming. Luckily with The Crow, most of what they had needed of Brandon Lee was already shot.
Yeah, they were
right,
done.
and you can watch that and you have no idea. If you didn't know anything about him, you could watch that and be totally amazed that after you watch that, somebody tells you, hey, you realize he died in the middle of filming that.
Right. It wasn't the middle. It was like 3 days before it was done. I can actually tell you the shots, and you can't tell. So
yeah, because they were just computer. But what I would do is, as a studio, I would realize every audience member knows Paul Walker died filming this movie. So it's not as though anyone's going to go into the theater unaware of what's happened. I would stop production. I would completely rewrite the script without his character in it. And then I would salvage all the footage that I could, refilm the things that need to be refilmed. But then in the beginning, or in the opening of the movie, either have Vin Diesel or somebody just give a quick memorial to him. Say, hey, Paul Walker was originally going to be in this film. He unfortunately died. It's a tragic event. We're all really sorry about it. To preserve his memory, we decided to not, to redo this film so that it wouldn't, that we weren't, CGIing him in or doing all sorts of weird tricks.
I know.
Thank you for your time. Do the film, but then in the DVDs, maybe include a really good memorial with stuff that he actually shot. I think
if Vin Diesel or any of the other actors have anything to say about it, they will fight to have him in the movie.
Yeah.
But then it comes into what do you do with him?
I'm not saying it doesn't open like a
movie?
Pandora's box of issues. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that they love him so much that they will do whatever they can to make sure that he's in that movie.
What I think they should do is salvage what he has filmed. This is my opinion. I think salvage what he has filmed. See how you can put together maybe 10, 15 minutes of screen time. And then find a way to write him and Mia and the baby off to a deserted island or something like that. They could do that with a phone call where Dom talks to Mia and they discuss what they're doing. And then you see like an exit shot of him, the baby, and her on a beach. I'm sure they've got something laying around from the past film, something they could put together. And that way, in the audience's mind, his character gets what Paul Walker didn't get. I don't think you put something at the beginning saying we filmed this for Paul Walker because you're going to have it's going to create an immediate.
I don't want to be depressed as soon as I go into a movie.
I would be depressed. Now maybe at the end of the movie, like after the credits or something, that would be a nice little.
Maybe all through the credits show some of the footage. The footage that was actually filmed with him.
Of just him or character moments or behind the scenes or something like that. But I definitely I don't think you kill the character off. I do agree with Scott completely. That would be tacky in my opinion. It would make me very unhappy with the franchise because it's one of those things. I already know he died. Don't make me relive it.
Right. Plus the family.
Yeah, plus he had a baby and we already know he's got, there's just no way you separate that from the actor himself if you do it like that. I don't think.
But this is exactly why everybody in these films are insured.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we'll move on to happier news. Sorry, guys. I hope you weren't bummed, but I thought it was important to talk about. And before we move on to trailers, Veronica Mars got a title. It's going to be called Veronica Mars.
Boom.
Yeah.
Hey, you can't get better than that.
Whoa.
I'm wondering how long it took him to finally, solidify that. Just sit there and go, God, guys, what are we going to go with?
That doesn't back up Frank Darabont at all.
But it is getting a theatrical release, which Justin and I are real giddy about because we didn't know how this thing was going to play out. It was a Kickstarter project that made a TV series become a movie. We didn't know if it was actually going to get a real full-blown release, and it is. March 14th, 2014.
Cannot wait.
Welcome to Brian's Trailer Park. Dom Hemingway is a goddamn firecracker. The notorious safecracker is released from prison after spending 12 years for being a stand-up criminal and keeping his mouth shut. Now he wants his motherfucking parade. This may be my favorite Jude Law role I've seen him in yet, and I haven't even seen this movie. But what do you say, Aaron? Have you seen it even? There's a Red Band trailer, and there's a regular trailer.
Oh, I didn't see the Red Band.
The Red Band trailer is the one that's on the website. He fucks a safe. And I don't know how you can possibly top that scene, but I get a feeling the movie's going to try. It's the most engaging I've seen Jude Law ever, I think. Honestly, the most involved, the most interesting. His hair is, what the hell happened to his hair? He used to be a really good-looking guy, and now he's just, boom.
He's got the best mutton chop goatee thing going on since Wolverine and Sabretooth.
It's almost one of those where if you didn't hear his voice, you might not have known it was Jude Law.
Exactly.
Well, even when you hear the voice with that Cockney accent, it's hard to go. Is this the guy who played Watson?
Exactly, that's true.
'Cause that is a thick accent. In a lot of ways, it makes me think of Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels or one of those films, but with a bit zanier edge on it. But I gotta say that Red Band trailer was awesome.
Oh, it was. And I feel bad because I think Scott watched the regular trailer.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you poor son bitch.
On the website, we've got the Red Band because that is funny. They've got naked women playing tennis. They've got Jude Law. I can't say it enough. He's fucking a safe. I don't know why. I have no idea what the point of it is, but it is so funny. Oh, God, it's so funny.
Maybe that's how he lockpicks it.
Holy but truly.
That's depressing.
And the best part there, what are you doing? I'm fucking the safe. I'm fucking it. I don't know why.
I have to go watch that trailer because the regular trailer. Jude Law is one of those actors that I always enjoy watching, but I'd never love his films except for Road to Perdition. I thought was really good. But most of his movies are like, man, he's really entertaining to watch, but I'm not interested. Everything else he's in is an uninteresting story.
And see, I'm the actual opposite of that. I've, for the most part, never liked him in almost anything he's ever done.
Really?
Until the last, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 movies he's done. He's grown on me in the last few movies I've seen him in, and maybe I'm just late to appreciating his talents and everything. But like I said, Road to Perdition was probably the one that opened my eyes to him as being like, okay, this guy's actually a good actor instead of just some pretty face with a cool accent.
Right.
So.
If you haven't seen Closer, see Closer, please. He is so good in that.
Yeah, he's got a couple roles where, and what was the Matt Damon one? God, I can never remember the title.
Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yeah, Talented Mr. Ripley. I thought he was very good in that, and I like Sherlock Holmes movie. I don't care what people say.
But again,
I like
that story was boring.
What?
Talented Mr. Ripley.
I don't agree with that. I
Really?
love that.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was so bored in that movie.
Yeah.
Just like men in Speedos.
I do.
All right. So speaking of men in Speedo-ish, well, I tell you what, before that, Dom Hemingway opens up tentatively on April 4th, 2014. So it's still a little bit up in the air, but that's what they're shooting for is April 4th. Back to the men in skimpy clothes here. Prince Hercules finds out he's the son of Zeus and must choose between his girlfriend or overthrowing some mean tyrant king guy who's being a whole lot of mean to a whole lot of people.
Great description, Brian. Great.
Look, I didn't realize they were remaking Percy Jackson, so get off my fucking ass. What did you think about this, Scott? It's got your, Kellen Lutz from Twilight, so he's finally got a lead role here. What'd you think about it?
Man, I don't know. When I hear Hercules, I think fantasy.
Hercules.
That's what I think. Hercules.
No, I think like Zeus and all that kind of fun stuff. And this to me looks like the origin story before the story got interesting.
It's almost like a history lesson or something.
Yeah, like it's all the stuff that happens before it gets interesting, and that sounds kind of boring to me. Plus, can they do a Sword and Sandals movie without the "This is." Tonight we dine in hell line. Literally, Tonight we fight for our lives. It's almost like verbatim that scene.
They just ripped it off completely.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like 300 without the budget or the talent.
Yep.
Ugh.
Well, I mean, we've talked about this 100 times, but when there's a certain type of movie come out, there's always one that counterbalances it. The same basic subject. Of course, The Rock has his Hercules movie coming out later next year too. So. This one looks like the Deep Impact to Armageddon.
No, it does not look that good.
It looks like shit.
It really does.
Oh, even the trailer is almost unwatchable.
It looks like Gladiator fights the Suck Dome. I don't even know what the fuck this thing is.
Oh.
Everything about it is awful. And all I kept thinking, and I told Justin this, the only thing I kept thinking watching this trailer is, so this is the Hercules without the Rock. That's what they should just title it. Hercules without the Rock.
Hercules, without the Rock.
Without the Rock.
Yeah. So, we were halfway done with this when we found out the Rock was doing one. We're sorry.
And they're fighting over the title. If I were them, I wouldn't fight over shit. I'd just let it die and see if you could somehow get attached to the real Hercules movie. Because this thing... Come on, the Twilight kid, he's your Hercules, and Scott's right. There's no freaking Zeus. It's just like every other Swords and Sandal movie. There's nothing separating it.
Yeah, there was a little electricity and stuff at the end of the trailer, which...
That was just because the budget got pulled.
Where's Liam Neeson, for fuck's sake?
Exactly. He's free, does everything else.
I didn't see no Kraken.
He was rounding up the Kraken.
Oh, wrap it
I
up.
would rather watch Wrath of the Titans again than this piece of shit.
I might rather watch something new, so I can hate something new instead of just.
I got a whole lot of. I still got plenty of room to hate on stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, this would be a fun review because I can already tell you how it's going to go. And if it didn't go that way, I would be pleasantly surprised. I couldn't wait to review. I can't wait to tell you guys how wonderful this movie is.
I'll review it for you right now. Ugh.
Or a heavy sigh. One of the two.
No, Justin, you'd watch it and you'd find something you'd like because they have some stupid fantasy element. And you'd be like, well, there was this one scene.
Well, they had a great use of lens flares.
Maybe if they have Rosario Dawson in it getting half naked or something. That was the only good thing out of Alexander. That might be the only good thing out of Hercules.
That's the only reason I watched that movie all the way through.
Ugh.
All right. Well, y'all can watch these trailers and those from recent episodes at thehollywoodoutsiders.com. You can reach us on Twitter at H_outsider. Like us on Facebook.com/The Hollywood Outsider. You can call us at 818-81-I'm-a-Ho or 818-814-6246. And, of course, you can always email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. And, of course, you can get your T-shirts, I'm a Ho T-shirts at thehollywoodoutsiders.com.
It's Christmas. Buy one. So let's go to the big screen. We talk about new releases on the big screen. Scott and Justin saw Frozen. Scotty, what is Frozen about?
Aaron, you saw it too.
I did, but I'm going to abstain. You guys can get all the talking. I talk plenty.
Well, we both love musicals, Justin, so apparently we're going to talk about this one. But
we're the target audience.
This is going to be the gayest segment the Hollywood Outsider has ever done.
Well, Frozen is the latest.
Appealing to all demographics.
Frozen's the latest Disney installment animated film that actually kind of goes to its roots a little bit with the Disney animated movies, and that there's music involved in it, which I don't know they did with Tangled, right, Justin? Mm-hmm. Which, but they've kind of gotten away with that, and they kind of went back to the roots a little bit with this one. The story follows two sisters named Anna and Elsa. Elsa is the older of the two. She was born with some magical powers involving manipulation of ice and snow. These powers have to be hidden from her sister Anna in order to protect her. And the girls grow up with Elsa isolating herself from Anna, who has no understanding why. You fast forward several years, and Elsa is to become queen of Arendelle, which, by the way, looks like a really small kingdom.
Did you say Arendelle?
Well, and it sounds like a Lord of the Rings character.
Arendelle?
Yeah.
That sounds like my perfect world.
But right, it's like a super small town. It doesn't look like a kingdom at all. It looks like a castle with a couple houses around it.
That's just the capital. I'm sure the surrounding mountains all make up Arendelle.
I hope so. Anyway, at her coronation, Elsa's powers are accidentally revealed to her future subjects, who react in fear. So she decides to flee to the mountains where she can't hurt anyone. But she also inadvertently puts the entire kingdom in a permanent state of winter. Anna, ever the optimist, decides to set out on a trek to the mountain to talk some sense into her sister, and she's aided along the way by a friendly mountain man named Kristoff, his trusty reindeer Sven, and a magical talking snowman by the name of Olaf. During their journey, the group discovers the true evil at work and must not only stop the new threat, but convince Elsa that she's not the monster that she believes she has become.
Woohoo!
Now, Justin, you're a big fan of musicals. You're obviously a big fan of Tangled. How did you take Frozen when you went and saw this one?
Well, I'm kind of conflicted about Frozen. On the one hand, who knew Kristen Bell could sing?
I didn't know she was in the movie until it was over.
Me either.
So
Me either.
Well, I knew going in that she was in it, but when the singing started, I wasn't sure if that was her singing or not. Come to find out, oh yeah, she's apparently quite the singer, and she grew up learning opera and all that sort of thing. So that was kind of news to me, but I like some of the cast, and I like a lot of the songs. There's so much that I really loved about it. I thought Josh Gad's Olaf was great, but I have some real big story issues with this film, and so I'm not quite sold on it as a traditional Disney film, and whether or not it's as good as some of those that have come before.
That's interesting, because I actually like the direction they went with the typical princess theme. You know, the two sisters, one that everyone thinks is bad but really isn't, and I kind of like that. We didn't really have a true villain that we knew of, you know, going into it. Like it seemed like it was more of a we think this person's a bad guy, but they're really not. We're just going to go talk them into it. I like that first spin on it.
Well, you know, I would have too if I had for a second thought that Elsa was actually going to be the villain. But because of the way that she was characterized and the things that she's saying and the way she reacted towards her sister, I never bought that she was going to be a villain. You know, I understood that her powers made her different and made her dangerous, but I never bought for a second, or did I think that she was actually going to be the villain, which is exactly one of my issues with the film. It's traditional for, you know, these sorts of films, Disney in particular, that you have a pretty clear-cut villain fairly early on. You know, in Tangled, we had the supposed mother of Rapunzel. In The Little Mermaid, you had that
Ursula.
In every one of these movies, you always have a bad guy that your heroes are going to be fighting against. We didn't really, at least I didn't think that there was a bad guy until 2/3 of the way into this movie, when finally a bad person was revealed. And of course, we won't go into that to spoil anything, because it is a neat reveal. But by then I was almost like, oh, well, finally we've actually got someone that our characters are going to have to overcome or defeat. I missed that villainy, and I missed that aspect of these sorts of films. Are they breaking new ground? Maybe. Was it their intention that we were supposed to think Elsa was going to be the bad character, the antagonist? If so, it completely didn't work for me, and I don't know how well it worked for others.
Well, and to be fair, I think it was for a younger audience. I mean, it was released on Thanksgiving.
Well, so was Tangled.
Sure.
So was The Sleeping Beauty. So was any other Disney film. But in those, you always had a bad guy or bad woman, and you knew who they were pretty early on. You established who your antagonists were, your protagonists, and then now they do, conflict in some way. Really, almost the weather was more of a antagonizing force than anything in this film. And so that is an issue that I had with the story itself.
Okay. What about the acting itself? You talked a little bit about Kristen Bell, which you said going into it, you knew it was her. I, like Aaron, had no clue that it was her until the credits rolled, and I was like, holy cow, that's Kristen Bell. How did you like her performance? Obviously, you liked her singing, but outside with the actual dialogue, how did you like her?
Oh, I liked her a lot. And when I watched a little interview with her about the film, and she said that they wrote the film with her in mind, and I could really believe that, because there are quite a few moments where she's saying lines that sound like Kristen Bell kind of lines. But in Josh Gad, again, as Olaf, I thought, oh my God, he is one of the cutest creatures in a Disney film that I've seen in a long time. It's just so wonderfully done. But outside of the two of them, I didn't have anybody that really just thrilled me the way that I had in Tangled. Almost every voice actor in that movie kind of tickled me in some way. I mean, Zachary Levi, Chuck, of all, characters, the guy who played him, well, all of a sudden he's voice acting the lead male role in Tangled, and he was so good. Everybody was good. Kristoff was just a guy voice. Hans's voice, he was just a guy. There wasn't anybody outside of Kristen Bell and Josh Gad, and to a lesser extent, Idina Menzel, who played Elsa. Really, those three were about the only ones that I felt gave a memorable performance.
I thought Menzel was fantastic. She was known mostly for her performance in Rent. She did the stage as well as the movie, and there's one. The best song in the film, in my opinion, was by her, and it was stuck in my head all night long. It was really good.
Was that the Let It Go?
Let It Go, yeah. It was really, really good. Alan Tudyk was in it. He played a minor role as the Duke.
Yeah, he was just one of the many aristocrats that was trapped in the city.
It's like he's become such a cartoon character, like in everything. He was in Wreck-It Ralph. You remember, like it's just like these goofy characters that don't sound anything like him. It's like he's going so over the boundaries. But
I like Jonathan Groff, who played Kristoff too.
You did like him.
I did like him.
I wish that I had a bit of a hard time almost distinguishing his voice from Hans' voice. To me, they just sounded typical guy voice. There really wasn't anything special for me with either one of them.
Now, when we talk about production with films like this, the easiest thing to talk about is the animation. This is obviously a CGI film. What did you think about the animation compared to like the hand-drawn animations of previous, or even Tangled? How'd you like it, Justin?
Well, I mean, Tangled was CGI, and Disney has been doing for a while these CGI films. And I personally think this film matches up with almost anything Pixar has done as far as the beauty of the visuals. It is a stunning looking film. What they're able to do with that ice, and occasionally it looking, slick ice, and then sometimes just really hard and almost cutting. they did a remarkable job, and the snow looks like powder.
Yes, it does.
It's really amazing what they can do, and I think it looks as beautiful as anything they've ever done. The music was really good. The songs, I like the songs. Occasionally, they sounded a little more modern than I think Disney has done with some of their
I like that
songs, and it was kind of weird, but I fell in to it. You know, that whole counter singing where one person's singing their verse, but then someone else is kind of singing their own, and they're tonally different, yet they work.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, for a while there, I kind of thought, did Joss Whedon do some of the songwriting? Because it reminded me of songs that he had done for Buffy and then for Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. But all in all, this film looks and sounds as good as anything I've seen Disney or Pixar do.
I was up and down with the music itself. I think a couple of songs at the beginning felt more distracting than adding to the story. But thankfully, they did a lot of the music at the beginning of the film and kind of left the last third to be more story instead of music. I think my only complaint with the quality of how it looked was that I think the backgrounds looked so good that having those human characters against that gorgeous backdrop felt a little off to me.
They almost looked plastic or something?
Yes. And it's
I could see that.
It's one of those that I want to see it in HD to see how good that looks, because when you have those, their bodies don't look proportionate, they don't look right, and then you have them in a real setting, they look kind of stuck in there. So, but that might just be my take, and it might be in standard definition. So, final verdict, I'll go ahead and I'll start this off, Justin, and I'll let you finish off. For me, Frozen was a pleasant callback to older Disney musical movies with a slightly fresh twist on the princess story. If you don't like musicals, stay far away, but it will be a pleasant surprise to those who like this type of film. Didn't blow me away, but had me laugh on more than one occasion and looked mostly stunning throughout. I give it a 7.50 out of 10.
I wish they would have done some more creative casting with the voices, and I really wish some of the story elements could have been changed, but, you know, the film is what it is. I'll go with you. I give it a 7.50 out of 10. I definitely think Tangled is a much better film, and hopefully the next one they do will be a little closer to that. But it is still nice to see Disney doing what they do so well.
The only thing I want to add is I think this is where you guys are missing it out as not being parents. This is totally a movie for families to take their kids to. It's not like most of the Pixar movies where they're aiming for a mixed audience. I think this is totally meant for families with small kids. And I think in that respect, it hits every mark. It's a cute movie. It's got cute side characters. It's an interesting plot. It's not too one-dimensional. It's not, it's actually more about the sisters as opposed to, just the relationship or finding love or anything else. I mean, it's really, I liked it. It was cute. It was a little bit unique. It's not as good as Tangled, but it's still a good movie.
I just wish there'd been that character that all the kids had to, pull back into their seats.
Oh, I think Anna was that character. I really thought Anna I think she's going to stick with a lot of young girls. I really do.
No, but I'm talking about a villain character.
Oh, yeah. I actually like that aspect of it. I like that it wasn't just about, they went a different route. They tried it. At least they tried it. Maybe it wasn't as successful as in the past, but sometimes, you got to try something new every once in a while. I like the way they did that. But hey, I'm not part. Let me tell you a little bit about Jason Statham. Because I went and saw Homefront, people. And for those that aren't aware, Jason Statham, he plays Jason Statham. And I'm just kidding. He plays Phil Broker. He's a retired DEA agent who, when he's a DEA agent, has the most badass mullet you are ever going to see in your lifetime. Well, he goes into hiding after his wife inexplicably dies, but also after he puts away a badass biker kingpin. I'm talking like Sons of Anarchy style. His only daughter, Maddie, it's just him and her. She gets into a tough at her new school, and that kid's mom, Cassie, who's played by an almost unrecognizable Kate Bosworth. I had no idea she was in this movie.
Why? I saw the trailer, I didn't know that was her.
Yeah, it's Kate Bosworth. She gets pissed at old Phil because he won't apologize at the time for what his daughter does. So Cassie enlists her brother Gator, who's James Franco, to teach Phil a lesson. Gator is this like a low-level meth dealer. And like I said, he's played by the I'll do anything for a paycheck, James Franco. Well, Gator learns who Phil really is, and he decides to leverage his knowledge of where Phil is, the location, to that badass biker club for a larger network. He wants to distribute his meth nationwide as opposed to just down in his little bayou. Everything goes wrong. Jason Statham does a little Steven Seagal time, kicking some ass, and then the biker gang comes to kill him, and he has to kick all their asses. That's really the movie. I went into this movie thinking this is going to be the most generic movie ever, but it's going to be full of ass kicking, so I can like it because that's what Statham does. I mean, it's written by Sylvester Stallone, for crying out loud, so it's not going to be overly deep plot. A couple things I liked. Gator, he's not like some mad genius. He's not a huge...
You mean a character named Gator is not a mad genius?
Right, no, he's not. He really is... He's really trying to live above his lot in life. I mean, he really overcalculates where he should be. And he tries to go for the big score. That's really all this movie is. He knows he can't beat Statham. I don't think there's a moment in the movie where you ever get the impression that, hey, these two went to head. He'd stand a chance. Not even a chance. Franco plays him very quirky, like you would expect. I mean, he's very eccentric, very off-key. He seems like a hillbilly bumpkin trying to be a meth kingpin. That's really how.
What's up, Brian?
Yeah.
Just so you know, I was a consult for this movie.
He was on set. Statham's a little more relaxed than normal. I was actually surprised he acted a little bit. He's got a daughter in the movie, and there's some actual sweet moments between the two of them. There's a couple moments where later on, after he realizes the position that he's in, where he tries to apologize to set things right because he doesn't want what's coming. He's trying to stop it, so he does try to awkwardly apologize. I think he handled those very well. I thought it was very fun. I loved his daughter, Maddie. She's played by Isabella Vidovic. She's very sweet, very, very cute kid. Had a good relationship with Statham. But I was most intrigued by the character actors. How they got this cast, I am shocked. They had Kate Bosworth, who, like I said, plays a waifish meth addict. Winona Ryder is a junkie whore. She pops up. Had no idea. Frank Grillo, which Brian, you know who Frank Grillo is. He was in The Gray.
Yeah, he was in The Gray.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He shows up, steals every scene he's in because he's basically Cyrus, the psycho biker sent to kill Broker. He was great. He's, like I said, he's a scene stealer. But all these actors, I had no idea any of them were in it. So every time the whole time I'm watching this movie, I'm like, how the fuck did they get Winona Ryder? How the fuck did they get Kate Bosworth? Are all these actors unemployed right now? How do they end up in a Statham movie? But it ends up being, just like every other Statham movie. Director Gary Fleeter stages the direction well. The action looks good. There's nothing really special or spectacular about it. It's normal action scenes for this kind of movie. I think it's a fun action thriller. It's much better than recent Statham flicks, and I'm saying that as a positive because some of the recent ones have really sucked. Parker was boring as shit, and I love Jennifer Lopez. I did like Safe, but other than that, most of his movies have been going downhill. There's a lot of interesting performances. If $10 is the full price for admission, this one's worth $6.50. So I liked it. I had fun. My wife's making me see it because she couldn't go with me the first time, and she has to see Statham movies in the theater. Don't ask me why.
I can tell you why.
Please tell me, Justin. Why?
It's not hard to figure out.
Because she's married to you, and that's Jason Statham. She's got to do something to
spice it up.
Well, to get the juices flowing.
And we're back to your big ass.
All right, box office. Catching Fire is still lighting it up with a $74 million weekend, and the film has already made over $300 million here, and it's headed towards $400 million total, and another $400 million worldwide.
Wow.
Thor got beat over the head, didn't he?
He did. Frozen iced out the competition with $67 million and currently has over $100 million already. It just freaking opened. Thor's hammer is going a bit limp as he dropped to $11 million for a $186 million total, but he's already passed the first Thor, so it's a huge hit. You will see part 3. The Best Man Holiday is starting to run out of spirit with $8.1 million and a $63 million total. Homefront opened to $9.7 million over 5 days. That is a flop. Poor Statham. Not Even Jesus could save Black Nativity, which opened in 9th with $4.7 million over 5 days. And Old Boy was more like Old Yeller because that shit was put down its first weekend out with $1.2 million over 5 days from 583 theaters. And Spike Lee is pissed.
Old Boy, more like, oh no.
Mine was much better. Scott?
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm so mad about that one. This really made me mad. The closest we've got is Chicago and Madison, which are a good ways away from us. I'm not going to drive that far to go see a movie as much as I want to see this movie. Why Why was this movie given such limited release? I really don't understand.
I don't know. I think they hate Spike Lee.
I gotta admit here, I'm kind of glad that you had a problem finding it.
Why?
So, because they obviously, if it's not showing where you guys are, it sure as hell ain't showing down here in bumfuck Hicksville. I got to drive like 2 hours to go see it. I don't want to see it that bad.
So are you basically telling us you're glad that we have to suffer because you have to suffer?
Yeah.
Okay. At least you're honest about it.
Yeah, but to be fair, you have to drive 2 hours to do just about anything.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. To go to the bathroom, it's 15 minutes.
Well, it's 5. It's a good
Well, the
walk
outhouse
out.
is backed up. I got to dig a new shitting hole.
But I got a really cool, glass door on my outhouse that looks over this lake. It's really neat.
Oh, that's a great picture. Thanks, man.
All right, guys, we have got 3 films that are going to be opening up on my birthday, December 13th. I do have a wish list on Amazon. First one up, Tyler Perry's A Madea Christmas.
Yeah!
Madea dispenses her unique form of holiday spirit on a rural town when she's coaxed into helping a friend pay her daughter a surprise visit in the country for Christmas. Of course, this is written and directed and starring Tyler Perry, with his usual cast of actors, with the addition of Larry the Cable Guy. Get her done.
Wait, Larry the Cable Guy is in this?
Larry the Cable Guy
Wow.
is in this. He plays the father of the young man that her friend's daughter is in love with. Now, Brian, with the addition of Larry the Cable Guy, I can't imagine how you're going to be able to keep yourself out of a theater to see this.
He's already left.
I mean, you've got to already be pre-ordering your ticket.
Yeah, I have. Absolutely. I fandangoed the shit out of it.
Because you Hicks love that fucker. I'm telling you.
That's right, man. I got at least 4 sleeveless T-shirts that say "Get Her Done" on it, and a bumper sticker on my truck with the truck nuts that hang down.
No, are they blue?
No, they're chrome. They're chrome.
Oh shit!
So
like you're out there every morning, just
I
shining
got one of them little stickers in my window of Calvin, pissing on a Ford logo. So
and that's how you're going to roll up to the theater.
That's it, man. I've really got no interest in this. I haven't liked anything with Madea in it yet. So
I like the first couple of them, but man, this is now Ernest Scared Stupid. The joke is worn. Let's literally get her done because I'm sick of this.
This is Leslie Nielsen doing this.
Yeah, the horse has been beaten. It's been buried. It's fucking been resurrected.
Ernest P. Worrell.
Can she jump the shark already? Like, for real?
Can you
Man,
believe?
she's got a
She's got those knee-high black socks on.
Can you believe nobody's seen the episode where Fonzie jumps the shark?
I will say though, when I watched the trailer, it was mostly your dumb shit, but it actually did have a line that made me laugh, and I immediately felt bad.
Which one was that?
Oh, she's of course, Madea overreacting to something.
What?
And her friend says, you need to take your medication. And she says, I did. It's 50 milligrams. Don't slap that bitch. Or don't slap that hoe or whatever it was. It was kind of funny.
Does it make you want to pay to see it?
No.
Even if it's got a holiday spirit on your birthday?
No, because when it comes to December 13th, there are 2 other films that I am much more interested in seeing. So why don't we get to those?
Okay.
Next up, David O. Russell's newest film with Christian Bale, Amy Adams, and Bradley Cooper, American Hustle.
And
Jennifer Lawrence. Our favorite. Oh, and even Jeremy Renner.
Fuck Renner.
This pretty much has every actor and actress we ever wanted.
Mm-hmm. If you put Dennis Quaid in this movie,
Dude,
he would already be camped out.
I would already be in line.
People were like, is this for episode 7? No.
If Kurt Russell popped up, because it's like the 70s, he could do it.
A con man, Irving Rosenfeld, who is played by Christian Bale, along with his seductive British partner, Sidney Proser. Amy Adams, is forced to work for a wild FBI agent, Richie DeMasso, who pushes them into a world of Jersey power brokers and mafia. I gotta say, this one looks fucking awesome. But what about you, Aaron? What do you think? You ready to get your hustle on? Do the hustle. Bum, bum,
This
bum,
last year, Silver. Really, are you done? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm done. I don't know. I may break out into it again.
I think you need your medication.
I'm breaking out some roller skates.
Thank you.
It has every actor that I love, except for Jeremy Renner. I just like him. And David O. Russell, Silver Linings Playbook was one of my favorite movies from last year, and I can't wait to see it. At first, I thought, what the hell is this? But the script has to be good to get these actors. I love Bradley Cooper. I love Amy Adams. I love Christian Bale. And I'm in love with Jennifer Lawrence. So there's really not much you could do to keep me from seeing it.
Jeremy Renner looks good, too.
Who?
Really. Jeremy Renner looks good in this trailer.
Really? You saw Jennifer Lawrence and Amy Adams in those outfits,
No,
and you said Jeremy Renner
And
looks good.
you want to talk about a guy who looks like Grumpy Cat.
He kind of does.
Oh, my God!
Here's what's weird. If this movie's limited release, why am I seeing it everywhere? Like, every movie I go see has this trailer in front of
That's
it.
just how they build it up, because they're trying to get it ready.
Yeah, so let's get excited about it, and then you have to drive 2 hours to see it. Screw
Yeah,
you.
it's not even like every movie you see the trailer for. It's on just about every TV show.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks good.
It does look
I didn't
good.
even know what the plot was for the longest time, and I still wanted to see it. So kudos to them.
I tell you though, with this cast, I have never seen Bradley Cooper or Christian Bale look so fucking ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, that hair. Oh my God.
The permed hair.
It's just awful. All right, but what about you, Brian? You interested in this one?
Yeah, I mean this is for all the same reasons you guys have covered. Yeah, absolutely. This is one of those kind of my type of movies, and it looks like a lot of fun, man. My concern is, like I say, it's in limited release. It doesn't come out, I guess, for release until the 20th.
No, it opens wide on the 18th.
Yeah, even still close enough. I really don't know if I'll make it to the theater to see it, just with everything going on with the holidays and everything. And plus, right around Christmas, there's like 25 movies that's opening on Christmas Day
There is.
that I'll probably spend 4 days just walking out of the theater, buying another ticket, walking right back in. So
It's like the new July 4th or something.
yeah.
I like it.
All right. Anybody else got anything to add before we move on to the film that will be keeping me in theaters instead of American Hustle?
Jennifer Lawrence? Nope,
No,
we're good.
I'm
Now we're
sorry. The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. In case anybody does not know what this film is going to be about, directed by Peter Jackson, of course starring once again Martin Freeman, Ian McKellen, and Richard Armitage. The dwarves, along with Bilbo Baggins and Gandalf the Grey, continue their quest to reclaim Erebor, their homeland, from Smaug the dragon. Bilbo Baggins is in possession of a mysterious and magical ring that will aid him on his quest. Yeah, I'm sorry. This film is the film on my birthday. I'm going to be sitting there watching American Hustle, sure, but no. Desolation of Smaug. What say you, Scott?
I am surprisingly really excited to see this one. It's funny you directed this one at me because I actually watched an unexpected, an unexpected journey for the first time this past weekend in preparation for the new one coming out, and I could not believe how much I like that movie. I've always appreciated the Lord of the Rings films, but I appreciated that they existed and how well they were done as far as spectacle and how well they looked and produced. But I never liked to really sit through and watch them. I enjoyed this movie from front to back. The fight scenes at the end were clever, were full of action, and the new one looks to just capitalize on that. You throw in Benedict Cumberbatch in there as the voice of Smaug. I'm
And as the necromancer.
There you go. I'm on board. I can't wait to see it.
I want to see American Hustle a little bit more. I do. I think
You suck. Get out of here.
So get on, Brian. Your thoughts?
Yeah. This is what I'll be camping out for. This one. This This just looks fantastic. Looks just like it's building off, of course, everything from the first one. I love every trailer I see for this movie. Just can't wait. Mm-hmm. All right, next movie. What's up next? Because I'm not listening to Aaron.
all right.
All right, well, guys, of these three films,
Fuck
The
Brian.
Madea Christmas, American Hustle, and really, just forget those two. The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. Which one are you guys most likely to go in the theaters to see? Aaron?
I'm going to see American Hustle.
Let's go ahead and talk to Scotty.
We'll just go ahead and write in Smaug for him.
I think we've lost our connection to Aaron. Scotty?
I'll take Desolation of Smaug as well.
All right, Brian?
Smaug.
All right, well, let's make this a clean sweep. All
it's a clean
unanimous. Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug.
So what's coming up next?
Let's see if we can dial Aaron back in, though. Do we really want to hear him?
See if we can get his connection. I know he was a little tinny. Can hear him.
Tune into it.
I do want to see it. I'm not knocking it. I think it looks great.
Reboot your router. We couldn't hear you too well.
I'm looking forward to
just
something
reboot everything.
different, and it's something different. All right, well, you can listen and subscribe on iTunes, your Stitcher Radio app. Give us a thumbs up if you do, or through our RSS feed at thehollywoodoutsiders.com. There's a new episode every Thursday. Sons of bitches.
What's this movie?
What's this movie? Each week we play ours or a listener-suggested clip from a movie, and if you think you know what the clip is, email us. What the fuck are you doing? You know what the email is right now.
He was going to call and leave a voicemail.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You can email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Tweet us or Facebook us. The answer next week we'll give you a proper host shout out. Last week's answer was my choice, and it was The Ref. A lot of people did not know that one, which I'm really sorry. You guys need to go find that movie. It's old Kevin Spacey, and
Is that on Netflix?
I do not know if it's on Netflix, but it's a great film.
I need to check. That is a good movie.
But those that did get it correct: D.A. Cheney, Doug Clayton, Sandy Koke, David McGrath, and Zach Parkerson. So congratulations, guys! It was. I'm really sorry that more people didn't get it. I love that movie. That's fun. It's a great Christmas film filled with hate. This week it is Justin's turn, so if you think you know what this clip is, email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Here's your clip.
Hey.
You were talking to a rock. Hey, that one looks like a turtle. Look at that one. That one looks like a dog. Oh, it is a dog.
What?
Oh, we're not allowed to have dogs in my apartment. Hey, I like dogs.
We have your dog.
Whoa.
Wonder who he belongs to.
Sit, boy. Hey, look, he's trained. Shake. Uh-huh. Speak.
Hi there.
Now let's go to the couch where we talk about TV and home video news. The Weinsteins are branching out a little bit. They're going to develop TV versions of some of their properties, most notably The Mist and Sin City. Brian, are those something you would want to see a TV version of?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's The Mist. I think is one of those properties that you could definitely kind of expand the universe, and you don't have to build off the main characters in that movie. Much to Justin's chagrin, I guess. But I think considering all that was going on, you could kind of expand that. And I mean, Sin City it's based on what, graphic novels or comic books, whatever.
A whole bunch of graphic novels.
Right. So there's obviously tons of material for that. Yeah. I mean, this looks awesome.
The Mist I could totally see working, sincerely. It's just one of those stories where, since if they followed the book, where the book really doesn't have an ending, they could continue that series until they eventually find out whatever is causing it, so to speak.
I agree.
Yeah. But
Not
Sin City is
Sin City,
so stylistic. I think that would be harder to do.
Maybe they could keep killing that son at the end of every episode. On The Mist, he could be like Kenny.
He just dies every episode.
He just shoots him in the head every episode, and then he's back again. God. I think Sin City could actually be to me, that's the more cinch of a TV show. But, you're right. It is a very graphic, unique style of a comic book. The film adaptation that Robert Rodriguez has done is also, very iconic, very graphic. So if they're going to do a TV show, would they try to keep that style, or would they try and go with something that's a little more traditional and mobstery? And I don't know if a more traditional looking Sin City is interesting, but I'd be down to see what their ideas were.
I'd be a little bit concerned if they do stick with the the same look of the movies that, like, it might get a little stale or a little
Yeah, it's
old
good
after.
for a movie, but week after week, it could be exactly. Yeah.
Well, first NBC brought us Dracula. Now they're moving forward with a TV version of the Wolfman. So I don't know if the Mummy's next, but that's what we're doing now. Do you want to see a Wolfman TV series after that Del Toro shit?
Wolfman Del Toro.
Benicio Del Toro?
Oh God! Oh, I see. I was thinking.
See, that's how bad it was.
Guillermo.
I was thinking of Guillermo Del Toro. I'm like, when did he do a
He's like, when was there a giant robot
I didn't
fighting a
think
wolfman?
Yeah.
I would be really interested in this if it wasn't for the fact that it's going to be developed, written, and executive produced by the same guy who's doing Dracula for them right now, Daniel Knopf. I watched the first episode. I kind of liked it. I watched the second episode, and I liked it less. The third episode, I just dropped it. It just didn't interest me at all. And apparently that's been the case for a lot of people because there's been a fairly lukewarm response to it. But, and NBC, despite that, is going to do a Wolfman show with the same guy. I don't quite know what the fuck they're thinking. If you want to get some people in to do a new show and you don't want to get these kinds of receptions, maybe get a better team. Get the folks who do Grimm, maybe break off one of their producers, or go for somebody else that's maybe got an original idea. But Dracula's kind of sucking, pardon the pun. Man, that one even sucked for me to do. So bring in some fresh talent, but they're going to base this on the Benicio del Toro and Anthony Hopkins film from 2010. So there could be something interesting there. But given the pedigree of the person who's going to be overseeing it, I'm not all that excited.
That Del Toro movie sucked. I'm sorry. It just wasn't that good. And I have no interest to see anything that follows suit. And just like you, Justin, I saw the Dracula show. That show sucks. So if it's got its fans, I'm not judging you for watching it. You might see something I'm not seeing. But everything I've seen about it was just not interesting at all.
Yeah, I mean, didn't we already have a werewolf show way back in the late 80s?
Oh, I love that. The half-hour one that was on Fox.
Yeah, it was like on USA or something.
Oh, I liked that show.
It was a pretty decent show.
Wasn't it called Werewolf?
Yeah.
I liked it. Let's do that again. And
Yeah, let's reboot that.
Or Manimal. Bring Manimal back.
Oh, fuck yes. But have him do more than a panther or a falcon.
Well, now they got special effects. He could do something cool.
That would be cool.
Like a leopard.
Did you know there was an episode of Manimal and Automan that actually kind of crossed over?
No, but it sounds like the worst idea of television ever.
Did you guys know that a lot of people haven't seen the episode where Fonzie actually jumps the shark?
You know he was wearing black socks?
Come on.
All right, let's go to DVD and Blu-ray, Scotty.
We got 4 releases for December 10th. The first is
The most depressing fucking release ever.
Fast and Furious 6, which all 4 of us reviewed on episode 95.
It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron gave it $8. Brian gave it $8.50. I gave it $6, and Justin gave it $8.
So you were obviously wrong.
Yeah.
Obviously.
By numbers.
Obviously.
Because 8 is so far off from 7.
No, he did 6.
You did 6?
Motherfucker.
6.
Oh, well, you fucking hate life, man. Seriously. Cheer up.
Thank you.
Jesus, leave your house of hate.
Justin also reviewed Man of Tai Chi on episode 112, where he gave it $8.50.
It was awesome.
That
And
is
Brian liked
awesome.
it too.
Yep, I would agree with that score.
All right.
Just for the record.
I saw Despicable Me 2 on episode 100 is where the review was. I gave it $8. And lastly, we've got Battle of the Year, which none of us saw, but if any of you want to go see Sawyer from Lost as a dance instructor, by all means.
There's not enough pot in the world.
All right. So that's not a movie you would see, even though it has Sawyer in it?
No.
Even if you call one of the girls Freckles?
All right, now you're pulling at my heartstrings.
All right, from the outside in, the topic this week, animated films, obviously, with Frozen out, have changed dramatically over the last 15, 20 years, especially in how they're animated, because a lot of things are done through CGI now. They're not done through traditional animation or what we formerly knew as traditional. And also the content's changed a little bit. There's a lot more adult themes than there used to be, where it used to be just a bunch of cartoon mice running around. Now you've got some serious, they say sex in Lion King. I mean, it's not intentional, but they say it. So we're going to talk about animated films a little bit.
How do you think that little lion got here?
Now that the most animated films are more CGI than traditional animation, do you guys prefer that, or it doesn't really matter to you?
It kind of depends on the movie. I think when you have movies that have a lot of animals or non-human characters, I prefer the CGI. But when you have characters that are human and they've got the eyes and the nose and body shapes, I tend to prefer the hand-drawn stuff because they don't. It seems like whenever they do CGI, they always make their bodies look weird. Like their heads
and they always have a little bit of creep in them.
Yeah, they always look like kind of like dolls. They got that aspect.
Or pedophiles, whichever way you want to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, and plus if you were to go back and watch those old school animated movies today, it would kind of creep you out, some of the stuff that they put in those movies, which you couldn't get away with now. I'm talking like animals.
Pinocchio's nose. Sorry.
No, not that. Like,
Oh my god!
I'm going to keep lying.
characters holding revolvers and knives and drinking and being drunk. I mean,
Fun. Yeah.
but you could.
Those are characters I want to hang out with.
You don't
Scott.
see those in even PG animated movies
Yeah,
nowadays.
that's true. Now everything's so safe.
You have to worry about what content we're showing everybody and this kind of thing, and it's mind blowing to go back and look at some of those old school G-rated movies that had mice that were drunk off their asses, and which is funny. So
You know, I recently rewatched The Little Mermaid. I downloaded it from iTunes. And of course, it's an HD upscaling of the film, but there's really only so much you can do with that original hand-drawn animation. And I hate to say it, but it was a little difficult to watch it because I've become so used to just how beautiful CGI films are these days that, you know, when you look at a Tangled or a Frozen or the Pixar films, they look so lush and colorful and crisp and everything's so beautiful. But when you see the hand-drawn ones, you notice some of the slight jerkiness, some lines thicker than others. And, you know, I would never say that now the older films just look like shit and I couldn't watch them. But it is a little more difficult to watch them. I think I've just been pampered by what computers are able to do. But then again, if you look at the first Toy Story and then compare it against Toy Story 3, you can see the huge leaps that they've been able to make and the quality of the animation. So CGI, I think, is just going to continue to look prettier and prettier. But I love that they're still keeping a very cartoonish aspect to the characters, to the settings, and to a lot of the circumstances. So even as beautiful as it looks, it's still a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of just, I don't know.
Just say it, you agree with me.
Yeah, I pretty much do. Because I look at even you can go back to certain decades and you just pull any random, say, Disney movie from there and you can see the difference, the progression from, you know, whatever, the 60s to the 80s to the 2000s. And to me, it's just almost like it just tells you almost what era it was from. It's almost like lines in a rock or a tree or something. It's just to me, it's just the evolution of it. And I don't necessarily like maybe the animation from, say, like The Little Mermaid better than something newer, but to me, it is what it is. And it's just kind of the way things are going. So
the one thing I want to add to this is I think there's something about hand-drawn animation that to me is more magical, or it feels like there's more heart in it. When there's an emotional aspect to the story, I can always feel it more with hand-drawn animation than I've ever been able to feel with CGI, with the possible exception of a couple Pixar movies. But the vast majority, or maybe it's just the talent of the stories being told. It could be that maybe they're just making more simplistic stories now, or they're not trying to be as heartfelt. But some of the older Disney movies, I mean, still touch my heart. I have a lot of sentimental value. When you go back and watch them, I still get the same feeling because I feel, I don't know, I really can't even explain it. There's just something about it.
You think it's more, though, an aspect of when you saw it, you were a certain type of person, and now you're not, but you're able to look back on them with that same kind of person in you looking.
I think it has more to do probably with, I know so in-depthly how the CGI creations are made. So to me, they look like pixels. Where you look at hand-drawn animation, and to me, I don't understand that whole process. So to me, there's still a little bit of a mystery.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So
There's a little more love put into it.
yeah,
kind of thing?
so to me, it feels like there's a little bit more love put into it because I don't know every aspect of how they're made. Like, that's probably the fairest way to say it. I'm not. Pixar movies look fantastic.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not
absolutely.
taking away from it. It's just for whatever. I think that mystery that lives there for me helps those older movies. Now, what do you guys think about music, specifically songs in animated films? I mean, they've gotten away with it a lot in the past decade or so. They haven't done as many of them. Tangled and Frozen are probably the biggest ones I can think of. So, do you guys like that, or are you glad that they got away from songs, or do you wish they'd bring it back?
Well, I'm glad that Disney Animation Studios is here to do them, and I'm glad that they're getting back to them. But I certainly wouldn't want every CGI cartoon made to have them, just like, every cartoon, done 10, 20 years ago didn't have singing in them. I like that there's some that have it and some that don't. I think Disney just has some kind of special magic to what they do, that they're able to make these musical cartoons that really resonate with kids and adults alike. But I do like that, that there are companies like Pixar, and DreamWorks that still, that do the cartoons that don't rely on singing. I can't imagine Kung Fu Panda if Jack Black had to, sing and Evangeline Lilly had to sing.
It's really got to do with the context of the movie. I mean, movies like Shrek, it works, but Kung Fu Panda, that's a good example. I don't think it would necessarily work for it, but it's just kind of a case-by-case basis, really. There are movies that I do like to kind of sing along with it, and then there's others I'm just kind of just making a good, entertaining cartoon.
Oh, Brian, I would pay to watch you sing along to a cartoon.
Watch The Lion King. I bet you he would.
I'll tell you what, watch Lion King or Little Mermaid with me.
I can't believe you
Under
haven't
the
seen.
sea, everything's better down where it's wetter. Just wait and see.
I still can't believe you haven't seen Lion King. I think that's make a hoe watch it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
good call.
agree. I think that's a make a whole watch it for next week.
All right, I'll do it.
Justin
I'll
has
finally
never
watch The Lion King.
Justin has never seen The Lion King. Fucking crime. Yeah, and I said fucking when we're talking about kids movies. I don't care.
Fucking
You
kids.
guys might find this surprising, but I actually prefer it when there's not music in animated movies. I think because I grew up watching so many Disney movies, and I felt like
Tied to the chair.
no. Has nothing to do with that. I watch a lot of movies, animated, non-animated, growing up, but it seemed like all the animated. Justin made it sound like just when you spoke about it, you said that they didn't all have an absolutely they didn't, but I felt like the majority of them did when I was a kid in like the early.
A lot of the
80s.
old Disney ones did.
Like it felt like to me like, okay, in order to be a kids movie, you got to have music in it, and to me that felt pandering. Plus, when you have music in an animated movie, to me it feels almost a step below lip syncing. You know what I mean? Like when you watch something like on TV nowadays, like Glee or anything that or what was the rock musical we did a while back, Justin?
The Rock did a musical?
No, the Rock of Ages.
Rock of Ages.
Where,
I get really excited. I'm like, I want to see this. Where did this happen?
They're lip
You didn't
syncing.
see rock,
everything.
Top Rock?
Yes, they're obviously lip syncing in those, but still you're seeing real people that look like they're singing. Never do I think, yes, that mouse is singing this song right now, or that whatever that Dalmatian is singing
Well,
this
that just
song.
means you're sane. Yeah.
That's just because you're crusty and have no love in your
Not
heart.
at all. Not at all. It's just I don't know. It seemed like a
Fuck you,
distraction.
Dalmatians sing, Scott.
Yes,
They do.
Yes, but when I was a kid and all I wanted to do was watch a good story, the music always took away from the story or the comedy that I was more interested in than the music. And you know me, I love musicals.
Mm-hmm.
You
When
were
that's
an
like
analytical little shit when you were in
When you're like 6, you got to analyze all this stuff.
My mice and
This
The
singing's
Secret
taking
and
me out.
Them, they didn't sing. My Transformers didn't sing.
yeah,
True.
I wasn't allowed to watch those.
He was too busy talking about all these mice pandering
They
to
weren't
him.
Jeebus approved.
No.
All right. Well, do you guys think animated films have gone a little bit more to the adult side, or are they just as kiddie as ever?
Well, I think they've gotten smart and they've combined the subtle jokes that adults would get and crammed them into a kid movies because they know that the parents pretty much have to go see it with the kids. you might as well make it a little somewhat entertaining for them too. So I don't want to say it's they've gone to necessarily adult themes, but I think they do kind of they do take a little bit of it and make it geared towards the adults.
Yeah, you got to be careful saying adult themes when you're talking about animated films because, I don't know, my mind goes certain directions. But yeah, I think they're made more to be more funny to adults. But like Brian said, it's a good mix because I think those making these movies have finally figured out we're not just pandering to the kids. You know, if we make it, the adults want to see it too. Instead of just getting mom taking all the kids, we'll get mom and dad. And maybe some grandma and grandpas to go see it with these kids as well, too, and make more money. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. Most of the other ones that are just for kids are the ones that we usually talk about we have no interest in seeing.
That's true. The majority of animated movies now are in 3D. It seems like every damn one of them has to be in 3D. Do you guys think that it works and studios are doing this because, you know, this is the best way to see these films, or just because they want to make sure that families can't pay for daycare or food or medical supplies?
Me personally, I prefer to see animated movies in 3D or even in like IMAX, something where you get like a really good high definition picture. That's where I like to see those kind of things more than even some of the regular movies. I don't think it's that attractive to people who are planning to take a kid or multiple kids. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could spend a car payment going to movies if you got even a decent sized family. If you're getting snacks and 3D glasses and I mean it's. That's crazy.
I got a buddy who's married, took his kid to go see Frozen, and it cost him $63.
Just for him and his one kid?
Him, his wife, his kid, and they got popcorn, and I think the kid got candy. And I tried to tell him, like...
I'd have told that kid,
exactly.
Suck on your thumb.
What?
Whoa.
Suck on your thumb.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
That is not what it sounded like.
That is not how I heard it. Okay.
Because you're a pervert.
I thought you said tum-tum. Go ahead, Scott.
No, that's all I had.
I want it on the record that I didn't say a word.
Thank you, Brian. Now, you know, I think, you know, for one, it is so easy and inexpensive to create a 3D CGI film as opposed to, you know, your standard live action films. You know, they don't have to worry about the expensive cameras and everything that goes into it. It's just practically flipping a switch to make it 3D. So it's easy to do. It gives their parents a chance to show their kids something in the theater that looks different than they can have at home, so maybe it's a little more special. I personally, I'm kind of the opposite of Scotty. I don't like 3D in my animated films. I just want to be dazzled by how pretty it is. I don't want to have to wear glasses, and I don't want to, you know, have snowflakes kind of flying at my face or icicles. So when I went to go see Frozen, I opted out of the 3D version. But I just think they're trying to give kids something a little more special. Maybe it'll shut the Rugrat up for a minute.
You're such a loving parent if you had children. I can see it right now. You should go pop out some kids.
Ugh. I don't really care, but I mean, I don't really care if it's got 3D or not. More than likely, I just could do without it. Kind of agree with Justin. It's about the spectacle of maybe the detail and maybe the use of colors or whatever the case is, but I don't necessarily need to have some mouse riding a snowboard, you know, jumping at my face. So,
and really 3D can sometimes diminish those finer, sharper qualities.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good call. Now, what are you guys' favorites? That's what people want to know. What are your favorite animated movies?
You know, I think my favorite Disney film of all time is The Little Mermaid. I remember seeing it when it came out. I was about 20 or so, somewhere around that range, and it's kind of odd that I glommed onto it so much, but I did. I thought it was really fantastic. One thing that we really haven't talked about in this whole discussion, and it's probably good that we didn't because it would have turned it into a 3 times longer discussion, but there's a lot of Japanimation that really hasn't been brought up that I think is phenomenal. Spirited Away, if you have kids, if you're a kid at heart and you haven't seen Miyazaki's Spirited Away, you should just run out immediately and rent it because it is a fantastic cartoon. I like the Akira and Appleseed, all those things that Japanese animation has done. But when it comes to American films, I thought Kung Fu Panda 1 and Kung Fu Panda 2 were fantastic. Really, really just super well done. And I like what Disney did with Bolt. I actually was surprised at how much I like that. But I think that was the hamster maybe more than anything. But Tangled, I've seen it 3 times now, and I look forward to seeing it many more times. There's some kind of magic in that film, and it wins me over every time. I love it, love it, love it. Oh, and Transformers the movie. That was awesome.
Brian?
Finding Nemo, just one of the, that was kind of like it kind of stepped up the game as far as use of colors and just the beauty and wonderment of an under the sea.
Under the sea, everything.
They're downwards, fighter. Come out and see.
I'll never do it again.
I'm sorry.
Even the sturgeon and the ray, they get the urge and start to play.
Damn, you do know that.
I do, because actually, like you, Little Mermaid is probably my favorite, or at least it's really up there. I've had the soundtrack. It's one of those things where early in my military career, one of the guys I was stationed with had me over to his house quite a bit. He had like 3 kids. They watched it all the time. I got hooked. As a going away present, they actually bought me a Little Mermaid comforter. It was hilarious. So yeah, it was
that on base.
Yeah, that was a tough one to explain. Whenever you come on board with a new ship and here's this new guy and he's got a Little Mermaid blanket,
a little whoopee.
So,
That's awesome.
They're calling you Ariel.
But really, kind of what I kind of like the Disney trilogy there with Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Lion King. Honorable mention of Aladdin. That was not quite as good as those 3, but those 3 are just
Hey, Robin
phenomenal.
Williams. What's up? Fucking up a good movie.
I remember the first time I saw Beauty and the Beast and that shot where they're in the ballroom and the camera would kind of obviously not a camera, but the camera's panning around while they were dancing.
Yeah,
I was like,
CGI in a Disney film.
It looks so gorgeous. So
it
good.
really did. In Shrek, Shrek was just a good one. It kind of changed the
first one.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah, it kind of changed up what you thought of animated movies and stuff. So,
you guys have said a lot of mine, but the one that you haven't mentioned is Monsters Inc. That movie just makes me smile every time I see it. Even to this day, I really like that one.
I actually saw Monsters University recently.
Yeah, me
I
too.
liked it.
I thought it was.
I thought I wouldn't like it, but I was like, by the end of it, I was like, yeah, that's pretty good.
Wreck-It Ralph.
Of course.
That is good, though.
It was really good, even if you're not a big video game. That was just a really cute movie. Toy Story, the Toy Story series we'd mentioned, but Toy Story 3 in particular is one of the few animated films that, not gonna lie, made me choke up at the end.
I love the end of that movie. Yeah.
Like on multiple levels. There's a couple different portions of that movie that just really kind of get you. For an animated movie to do that to me was good. The opening intro to the movie Up.
Oh,
Those first.
I'm gonna weep right now.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It just makes you want to cry.
In how many minutes? In what, like 3-4 minutes of that movie? And
It was like, whatever it was, perfect.
Still a better love story than Twilight.
Yeah. What about you, Aaron?
Up's one of my favorites. Little Mermaid, I've watched about 5,000 times, I would say, because my daughter freaking loved that movie. So could never get tired of that clamshell bra. Lion King, music was fantastic. One of the best soundtracks of any movie. Hakuna Matata, what a wonderful phrase. The Fox and the Hound.
That's a good one.
Yeah, my mom took me to that one. Probably one of my first childhood memories in the theater. I absolutely adore that movie. Heavy Metal was the first time I saw boobies. So,
The first time you saw boobies was
the
Heavy
first
Metal.
time I saw breast was a cartoon. That's a true story. My dad, one of the few times I saw him as a kid, and that's what he had playing when I went over to his house, was Heavy Frickin' Metal.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's not something I would ever recommend letting a kid watch. And Beauty and the Beast is probably my all-time favorite cartoon. Tales all the time. It's just one of those movies where everything hit the exact right note, the exact perfect way. The characters worked, the heart worked, the story worked. All the side characters were entertaining and fun, and the music was just wonderful. just everything about it just made it a perfect movie for me. So this one I don't think people mention nearly enough, but definitely, love that movie. And Scott, you saw Roadhouse.
I
finally.
did. I finally saw.
Wait! Before we get to Roadhouse, I forgot. Listeners, they got some animated movies too. D.A. Cheney. They've gotten better looking, but the stories can still go in either direction, just like old school cartoon types. Favorites: Princess and the Frog, Brave, Tangled, Ice Age, 9. Oh, that was a good one. A lot of people haven't seen that. Puss in Boots, Shrek, How to Train Your Dragon. David McGrath, no significant change in regards to story quality. Every decade has its classics and its bombs. Definite improvements on the tech side of things. What I would like to see with regards to American animation in particular is more daring projects. Living in Asia, I've seen animation that would straighten anyone's short and curlies. Don't mean to say that Disney should start pumping out giant robot ninja tentacle porn anytime soon. But I would like to see...
Somebody's been watching some hentai.
But I would like to see more mature projects aimed at an adult audience, a la say it.
Miyazaki.
Thank you. And Ralph.
Bukaki? What?
Ralph
Oh my God.
Bakshi. That said, I like how you say, oh my God, like you don't talk like that when there's toes not rolling. Shut up. That said, some of my favorites, The Iron Giant.
Justin is our moral compass.
The Fantastic Mr. Fox. I have never seen it, honestly.
That's Wes Anderson.
That's why I have never seen it. Spirited Away, Heavy Metal, Disney's Tarzan, and The Illusionist. I hope you didn't watch Heavy Metal when you were like 6, because it'll fuck your head up. John Butler. I would say better by far Wall-E. Up, I mean, those are two of the best ever created. Brad Peterson, I miss hand-drawn animation, but maybe that's because I'm an old bastard. I do like CG films, but I prefer some variety. I think as a whole, animated films have gotten better for the most part. Some favorites of mine are WALL-E, Akira, Heavy Traffic, Ninja Scroll, and Princess Mononoke. Thank you, Mononoke. I'm not Japanese. What the hell? Mostly anything involving Miyazaki again is great. Dude has the Midas touch. Never was a huge Disney fan outside of a few films.
I remember Ninja Scroll. I remember liking it a long time ago and tried rewatching it, and it doesn't hold up very well.
It's bloody, though.
Yeah, it is.
Angela Lee says Wall-E, Toy Story 3, and anything by Miyazaki. Fucking, what's with this dude? Jeff Bredesen, Toy Story changed it all for the better.
The Japanese Walt Disney.
Yeah, obviously. Jeff Bredesen, Toy Story changed it all for the better. Charles Patterson, Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and Lion King represented the best. Pocahontas began the decline. Just because Mel Gibson was in it, probably. Now, Scotty, my vocal cords are sore. Roadhouse. What did you say? You finally saw it. You'd never seen it before. What did you think of Roadhouse?
I liked it a lot more than I expected to. I really went into this one expecting it to be another Weird Science, I'm not going to lie.
And by that, you mean awesome?
Sure. I love the idea of a nice guy being the tough guy as well. I don't think you see that a lot in the movies. But, man, this movie is very in the 80s.
Like, yeah, it is.
Holy cow, is it in the 80s. The fight scenes were pretty interesting because every of those hits felt solid. Mm-hmm. Like, it really, really felt like they were being smacked. It didn't look, and it did the Rocky thing where when there was a one-on-one fight or even like a 3-on-1 fight, it was never one-sided. It was always like someone, like you didn't know who was going to come out on this one, mm-hmm. even though you kind of did. Sam Elliott. That dude is just the epitome of cool, even when he was a little bit younger. Because I don't know if he's ever was young.
I think he looks the same.
He looks
beef. It's what's for dinner.
He's got the coolest voice. He looks like the Marlboro Man. Yeah. And so he was like perfect for that. But he just
double douche.
Got the best, almost some of the best hair in movies.
For real.
Mustache. That mustache.
He was one of my favorite parts of that movie. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I would have given it a solid 7 out of 10.
What do you think about the throat ripping?
I was not expecting that because they talked about it like beforehand, like, oh, he ripped some dude's throat out. And I'm like, whoa, this is an R-rated movie.
And a monster truck took out a mall.
That was kind of funny.
The bear fell on me.
The bear fell on me.
I used to fuck guys like you in prison.
I heard that line and I was like, what?
Oh, shit.
So thank you for making me watch that one. I actually really enjoyed that one.
All right.
You're welcome.
And next week, we're going to hear Justin talk about Lion King. So we didn't get, it was Thanksgiving week. We didn't get a lot of we didn't get any Facebook likes or a lot of emails, but everybody was enjoying the holidays. We understand. So email us this week, feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com. If you like us on facebook.com/The Hollywood Outsider, we'll mention you on the show next week. Stay through the credits. We're going to talk about Walking Dead mid-season finale real quick because we only got a few minutes before we teeter over into 47 hours, whatever the length is now. TheHollywoodOutsider.com's website. Twitter is H_outsider. Leave us a message or text us at 818-814-6426. Email again, feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com. That's going to do it for this episode of The Hollywood Outsider. You can also find Justin and I on TV Talk for the shows Sleepy Hollow, Grimm, and Hawaii Five-0. Thanks to Justin, Brian, and Scott for being here. Thank you, buddies.
Hey, thanks
And
for
you're
having us.
welcome. Hey.
Where's Brian?
Hey.
There we go. Hey. And remember, the next time you go to a theater, buy popcorn. Or pretzel bites, because I'm really starting to love those.
Who
And
wears a
wear
leather?
black socks.
All right, now real quick, we're going to talk about the mid-season finale of The Walking Dead. So if you haven't seen it, turn this off. I don't want you to be spoiled. All right, that's giving you enough time. What'd you guys think?
I liked it. I was kind of hoping some more people were going to get knocked off and not just Herschel. Not the best, season or half season finale they've done, but it was good. I'm curious, where it's going to go from here because now that the prison is completely fucked, they've got to find something new. But the bus went off and some others weren't on it, so I just hope we're not going to get a whole bunch of 2-3 stories going at once, and it takes them, a full half season to find each other again.
It really felt like the end of the season where they left Herschel's
Farm.
Mm-hmm. Where everybody just kind of scattered. And they kind of handled that fine. I personally loved it / hated it because, of course, you get emotionally connected to. Herschel was the kind of the moral compass, if you will, of the group, and he always had some great wisdom that he always imparted on Rick or his kids or whoever. And he was just this grounded person that you just loved, and it's hard to see him go. And it was, I don't know. I thought it had enough people die. You gotta get rid of them at some point. Pretty much, everybody at some point is going to die.
I did hate that little girl got bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I thought that was a little... granted, they threw the flash flood warning on there, so I guess that body could have been buried there. But I was like, what? But what did you think? Before we move on, I got to ask this question real quick. The 2 episodes before this one were all about the governor. Was that too fucking much or what? Because that could have been done in 1 episode. It could have been done sparingly throughout the season. I thought it was really wrong to take us out of the prison for 2 whole episodes.
That for me, it's kind of 2-parter with that, because yes, I agree that it took way too long. And because of that, I kept wondering how the whole explanation between, when Rick tells Daryl about what happened to Carol. Mm-hmm. It was, the last time that you saw him, it was, Herschel was telling Daryl, yeah, you need to talk to Rick. And I was hoping for more of a blow up, but it just kind of just blew it off like it was nothing. And 3 episodes later or whatever it was, and I just felt like we just kept, like, you leave this thing hanging there, like we're saving this for a big blow up, and they never did.
I liked it that they actually went away for a couple of episodes because, for one, I don't think some of what happened in this, mid-season finale would have been as impactful if we didn't get 2 solid episodes of nothing but these characters. The little girl getting bit, the relationship that the governor, what was his name, Brian?
Mm-hmm.
Did he take that name, or was it?
He saw
it. It looked like he took it, but I thought maybe they were actually written for him, and he just is now whatever. The relationship he developed between the girl and her mother, and then the sister. I don't know if that would have been as impactful if those bits had been sprinkled through a half dozen episodes with Rick and the rest of them. I think it needed to be 2 episodes really compacted and delivered to us this way to develop any kind of an emotional connection to those guys. And I mean, I certainly understand why people were frustrated by it, but I kind of liked it, especially because then when you get back to the characters in the prison, you're kind of reminded, oh yeah, God, I love these characters. What are they up to? You know, you start taking, I think we start taking characters for granted a little bit, like they're always going to be there week after week. And when they're not, it's, you know, it kind of, you know, absence makes the heart grow fonder kind of thing.
I just don't like the governor. I haven't liked him since last season. I was glad that he died because I fucking hate his character. And it's not, I wish I could say it's the hate, like, man, you love to hate him because he's such a good bad guy. I just think the character is poorly written. And I don't agree with a bunch of people that think he's well acted. I think he's over the top. I think it's a little bit too mustache twirling, snidely whiplashy. I'm just not a fan.
I've never been crazy about the governor's character either. It's just, I'm glad it's done. It just, and it kind of, I mean, you kind of knew the way that it ended last season. You kind of knew they had to bring him back. I would have been fine if they just left him in some, well, whatever. He maybe drove cross country or something. I don't know, but
he had to go on a journey of self-discovery.
Yeah.
There you go. I just, and how it ended, I mean, granted, we're going to come back to it, and we'll do a much longer talk on this when the actual season finale hits. But, I mean, we lost Herschel. We almost lost the... Do you think Judith is dead? I don't, but do you guys think Judith is dead? The baby?
Oh, no. I think they scooped her out of that thing and took off with her. No, I don't think she's
Well, then
dead.
What was filled with blood? Because the thing is, the car seat thing is slap filled with blood.
Well, that
But
could
if
have
it
been...
was filled with blood and it was because of her, why was she taken out of it? I do think there was a lot of shooting and a lot of body shit flying
Look,
around.
you know, hey, zombies want to eat and go. You know,
I told my wife, I said,
Drive-through.
if I see a zombie baby come crawling out, I'm gonna flip out.
There's like a drive-through with babies in it.
See, I think I agree with. I think the fact that the baby's gone. I think that, you know, you have to kind of expect that the baby Judith will pop up somewhat healthy and not turn to a zombie. But the other side of me feels that, well, because that's the normal thought process, you know, they're just going to, I don't know, they're going to stumble across it and somehow and realize that, you know, it's a biter.
Oh, that would be gross. Have a little baby.
Biter.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, think of the special effects they could do with that. Psh.
Which is, it's funny because this ending for this mid-season finale is the actual ending to the governor's character in the comic book. And Judith did die in the comic, which is why I think she's still alive now. Yeah.
See, I didn't read too much past in the comic where the governor's people ambushed or attacked the prison, but in the comic book, that's when the mother died. She got shot by the governor.
Right. Well, we got a lot to look forward to. So I thought it was really well done. Now, overall, it kind of, I'm glad they had this episode because the governor episodes, like I said, I wasn't a fan of. You guys, are you looking forward to the new season in February?
Yeah, definitely. I want to see where they go with this. I want to see, does the woman who lost her daughter and shot the governor, does she return, or is her story done? There's still lots of story to be told here.
You know, and hey, do we see Carol again? I was just, you know, I hope they cross paths again. I can't imagine them not, but
I hope so.
It would be an interesting way of just writing her out of the show, though. You know.
Before we go, Daryl, I realize that they make these moments just because the audience loves him, but that fucking moment where you knew he wasn't dead, but when he basically stuck that arrow through a zombie and used him as a shield, and then dropped a grenade, which I have no idea where he got a grenade, into that tank. That's the shit that makes you go rah rah rah.
Daryl probably made it.
He did with moonshine. Mm-hmm. It's a moonshine grenade. All right, guys, take care. We'll talk to you next week.
See you on my birthday.
See ya.
Or close.
Wish list, Amazon.
Bye. Yeah, wish list, Amazon. Buy my books. Bye.
Hey, I just like free shit. You can send me shit too while you're at it.
Take care, guys.